Back again to talk about the growing report, or you could say speculation, that Travis Hunter will be playing full-time defensive back and part-time wide receiver, with a lot of people giving their kind of prediction as to how this will go, and many people reporting on those predictions as if they're facts coming from Liam Cohen. There's definitely a hint of there will be more defense for Travis Hunter. Liam Cohen has said it himself. He will definitely be putting Hunter out on the field more on defense. The wide receiver room grew. They won't necessarily need to use Travis Hunter as much walking into 2026 initially, but I believe that Travis Hunter is more value than he is a void, because the narrative is getting out of hand. The speculation and the predictions by people are painting a picture that really isn't exactly the way people are painting it. We're breaking that down and more. And what happens if BTJ moves? This is why Travis Hunter is such a good value. There's so much hidden value in a player that is venturing and nearing zero in terms of value. People don't value Travis Hunter at all. And it's going to be amazing to get him at the discount and watch the opportunity grow as he gets, more used to this offense. They start using him. They realize he's such a playmaker. There's a lot of hidden value in Travis Hunter 2026, given the cost of entry. We're breaking it all down and more. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now. File on into the Graveyard Stream.
You're watching a
Graveyard Stream.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
This is a pretty easy decision to make on draft day or via a trade using a second-round pick in an existing Dynasty league. Travis Hunter is going to have some serious baked-in value. All the risk is 100% baked in. And you might say, Smitty, but I don't care. Like the part about caring about Travis Hunter's workload is now out the window because of the reports that keep coming out, which I don't think are telling the story entirely accurately. Travis Hunter, NFL Network, speaking, this one, Cameron Wolf, on reports that the Jaguars plan to play Travis Hunter as a full-time cornerback and part-time wide receiver in 2026. This is actually the best report I've seen, because most people are taking Liam Cohen's comments, and he's talked about this periodically, that things didn't go the way they wanted. It's on the staff. It's not on Travis Hunter. And that they had to move on in some ways and get other wide receivers to win games. This team was fighting, obviously, deep into the playoffs. This is a wide receiver room that looks very different than it did week one. But that doesn't mean that Hunter is not playing wide receiver. Doesn't mean Hunter is not getting 3, 4, 5 receptions a game, and the opportunity of that to grow with one Brian Thomas Jr. trade, one BTJ injury, one Washington injury, one Myers injury, one move, one situation change, one explosive play when they do use them and they're like, we got to get this kid the ball more. There's so much hidden value in Travis Hunter at zero cost of entry, because that's what he is. I have people trying to give him away in Dynasty, and I'm trying to get him as cheap as I can, and I'm going to be throwing second rounders at people that aren't even talking with me about it yet. And this is a player I could acquire in every single league I own, because the cost of entry in Dynasty is so low. People don't want him. If it's not an IDP league, second rounder, you can get him for a second rounder. Because right now he's not a wide receiver. Right now the narrative out there is that he's not a wide receiver. He's a defensive back. This is the most optimistic report that I've seen. Part-time wide receiver. I haven't even seen that. I've seen people say he's going to DB. They're not going to use him at wide receiver. All speculation off of the back of Liam Cohen's words, which I heard myself. And they're certainly going to toy around with more defense. No problem. I have no problem with that at all. And the thing is, things can change. Just like they said he wasn't going to play defense, he was going to play offense. That changed. What about the people in IDP or defensive only, not even IDP, but defensive only leagues where there's essentially you're not getting any carryover crossover points. You're not getting offensive points at all. You're just strictly drafting him as an IDP defensive player. Those people that thought he wouldn't play defense at all, that changed. This can change in a snap of a finger. BTJ is certainly capable of being traded. This is one of the most likely players, I think, to come up in rumors and discussions. Whether a trade actually goes down is a whole different thing. I believe that the team would like to keep him if they can, but BTJ, Odunze, AJB, Pickens are all potential players that could be moved to another team via a trade. Pickens tagged, then traded. AJB complaining like crazy all year. He seems to be dialing back a little bit now that he's lost his offensive coordinator, which I believe he blames a lot of his lack of touches on. I think he's willing to run it back one more time. So AJ Brown trade rumors might die down more than I think increase. BTJ is still such a crowded wide receiver room. And he doesn't seem to fit this scheme as well as we wanted him to. This is not. It's not like it's not like he's been custom, selected for the scheme either. Odunze, same thing. Odunze was there before Ben Johnson showed up, and both these guys still have such high draft capital. These teams are going to be asked the question: do we get more now out of trading him than keeping him and playing him lesser than his draft value accounts for? Meaning Odunze goes number 9 overall in the NFL draft. They don't use him properly. Then they bring in Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson drafts Luther Burden, who's clearly the number 1 future wide receiver. Then you have Loveland, the number 2 target getter. And then what's left over, for Odunze? Not suggesting that they don't say, at the cost of getting rid of him for pennies on the dollar, we'd rather keep him. Of course they would, because he's a good receiver. But you got to ask yourself if you're going to get more in a trade now versus what you'll get out of him if you try and use him at a lesser capacity. So if BTJ won't be featured as the number 1, you probably are doing yourself a disservice not getting rid of BTJ at value that can still garner you something that outplays or helps you at another position, and you still believe in Travis Hunter enough to move him. He could even be moved during the season if they end up saying, you know what, he still doesn't fit. This is not the team for him. And he's already quit on plays and looked disastrous throughout the entire season. And this is a successful Jaguar season. So what do we make of it? What is Liam Cohen thinking? Hard to say. But BTJ certainly could be one of the bigger talked about trade rumors in the coming weeks and months. Not that necessarily ties to a trade end up happening. But that would be a huge open door for Hunter. There's so many ways that Hunter could get more work. Even if, let's say, the worst case scenario comes into play where Hunter's playing full-time, let's just say he's full-time DB, and then he gets, let's say he's getting 40% of the snaps, or even if it was 35 at first to 40% of the snaps, this still could equate to 3 to 5 receptions, which might equate to 40 to 55 yards. And that point, maybe because he's such a playmaker and the plays they put him in are at and around the goal line, you got this guy that's scoring this occasional TD that, let's say, equals 8 TDs on the year. So this is not somebody you want as your wide receiver 1 in fantasies. Is not somebody you want necessarily as your high-end wide receiver 2. But is this a flex play with the upside that if something changes, this moves into a 75% number, this moves into a 10 touchdown number, this moves into a 55 to 75 number, this moves into a 4 to 7 number, because all of a sudden this team needs a wide receiver, man down, injuries happen all the time, BTJ gets traded. You're getting him at seller dweller pricing that doesn't account for any of this. It's a fantastic buy low opportunity. In Underdog promo code Smitty Best Ball Drafts, we're getting him at, let me look up his ADP. It's ridiculous. It's my wide receiver 5 or 6. I'm drafting him very, very much with a smile on my face, saying that this is home run material. Now we're going to talk about Parker Washington in a second, so don't think that this pro Travis Hunter discussion is me not being high on Parker Washington. This is where I think some people are going to confuse my stance, and I can't wait for it, because that's one of the most entertaining parts about the entire offseason, is when somebody doesn't know what they're talking about, comes in here and acts like we were high on one guy and you were down on Parker. I can't wait. Yeah, it's like someone coming in. You weren't high on H-N. Pick one keeper. Thank you, Danny, for the super chat. Appreciate you very much. This one from Danny. Danny says, pick one keeper. JD5, 7th round. Ibuka, 7th round. Burden, 8th round. May, 9th round. I'm assuming this is a 1 QB, because he didn't say it wasn't. So, and those keeper rounds, you'd never have those rounds attached to a 2 QB league. So, I mean, look, you can get those quarterbacks. May's going a little earlier than that, but you can get those quarterbacks, JD5, and I think I'll probably wait on a quarterback in this situation, try and get JD5 again in another round. I think I'm just keeping Buka. Buka in the 7th round, I still believe that's going to be a glorious value. That's kind of, where you're taking him in redraft and Dynasty. He probably will go higher. I guess I'll probably say, I'd probably say, you know what? I wonder if you could get Buka in a Dynasty in this format still a round or two before that. I'm going to go ahead and say Drake May. Drake May, 9th round is pretty damn good value. He probably goes in around 5 or 6 now. I think the playoffs, the unraveling people keep referencing over and over and over has lowered his value. He was a round 4 guy. Now he seems to be around 5 or 6. That's why I'm like, but it's Dynasty, it's keeper or whatever. But this is one player keepers truly feels. I don't know. This one I'm torn on. I still almost want to say Buka, but I think I go Drake May, because it's a one-man keeper. You're still going to get a deal on Buka. You still could get, Burden, I think, at a pretty decent discount. I'm going to say Drake May, final answer, but it's a tough call. It really is. Those are not great rounds attached to those names. They're great players, but not great rounds attached to those names. So not sure. I think that's you're really doing yourself a disservice by going one way or the other, and you're certainly getting a good player regardless. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Let me see if I can find my Parker Washington graphic. I know I have it here somewhere. Dang it. I don't know if I might have to make it on the fly. I know I have it. I just don't know if I put it in the right folder. And I keep doing this. I keep looking for 2 or 3 guys. And here it is. Parker Washington. There it is. All right. So as much good as I've spoke about this man, Travis Hunter, and we love him. We love him. It's hidden value. Everything you've heard me say is hidden value. The value's embedded in, hidden, not needing to exercise any sort of, high cost purchase price. Just Hunter's practically free. This guy right here might be going to the moon in 2020.
To the moon.
And quite honestly, I think I'm probably going to put him on the moon man list. I don't know if that'll happen on tonight's show. It depends how frisky I get. I could do it in seconds. I don't know. This is a guy that Liam Cohen talks about with a smile on his face, like you expect him to smile about Travis Hunter, or you expect him to smile about BTJ. This is a guy that stepped up big time when his number was called. And more importantly than that, again, when Liam Cohen discusses the offense right now, this man's name comes up immediately. So sometimes you're only as good as your volume. And the way Liam Cohen talks about Washington, he says he's dominated before the season. He dominates in practice. He dominates on the field. And that's coming from Liam Cohen, paraphrasing slightly. And all I'm hearing and getting vibe-wise when I hear Liam Cohen talk about his receiving room is this man. And while this is hidden value in Travis Hunter, and again, make no mistake about it, I'll be trying to scoop up all the Travis Hunter 2nd round equivalent type trade value Dynasty existing that I can. I'll be drafting him as my wide. Oh, I was going to look at his wide receiver ranking. That's why I came over to Underdog real quickly. Travis Hunter, ladies and gentlemen, has an ADP. Parker Washington is 72 ADP. We're doing the Moon Man list thing now because 72 is ridiculous. 72 ADP for, let's write this down. Parker Washington. Before we throw Parker on the Moon Man list, let's map it out real quick. So Pete Wash is going at 72 overall, which is wide receiver 36. Wow, that's crazy. That is so ridiculously disrespectful. Travis Hunter is going at an insane. Tell me he didn't climb. Hold on, let me find it. Travis Hunter. Where is he? Oh God, did he fall? Oh, this is amazing value. 142. I thought I had to go back up. I'm like, maybe he climbed. No, he didn't. So Hunter is one. Jeez, this is Liam Cohen wide receiver. Both these guys are Liam Cohen wide receivers, and they're going 142 as wide receiver 61. So they're both tremendous values. This is disrespectful. 72 for Parker Washington. P. Wash is a fantastic option for anybody looking for a wide receiver 3 deep in a draft. 72 overall. That puts him at what pick is that? That's roughly that's the last. That's 7.1 essentially. So this guy's going at 6.12 to 7.1. That 7.1, let's call it. And Travis Hunter, we said, was 142. 142 is, what round is that? 142 is 12.3. 12.3 free. That's free. That's a double-digit round player. Wide receiver 61. Throw him on your bench as your wide receiver 5 or 6. This is 72 overall for Pete Wash at 7.1. Your 7th drafted player. Your wide receiver 3. Your very sneaky wide receiver 3, who is probably going to the moon in 2026 at that value. I love this value. And I love the way Liam Cohen talks about Pete Wash. He acts like he's a marvel, a rising star, which I believe he really can be. And let me pull up his stats from last year and put them on screen. Pete Wash was remarkable, and he didn't even really get going until a little bit later in the year. Let me screenshot Pete Wash's stats. 5 touchdowns, 847, 58 receptions. But the remarkable part is where he got that volume and what span. So let me put that number there. That's Pete Wash's overall number. Guy is 5'10", 204 pounds, 23 years old, turns 24 here in March, next March. 6th round pick in 2023. Just an exciting kid. Let's get this. Where's my damn game log? Here's the game log. All right. So for those that don't know, in the playoff, in the postseason, the man was electric with his 7 receptions, 12 targets, 107 and a touchdown. So the reason I bring that up, even though that wasn't relating to your fantasy football output and outcomes, this is the last game he played. This is momentum. This is against the Buffalo Bills. This was a loss, but 7 receptions, 12 targets, 107, 1 TD. 12 targets is pretty important. Not all catchable footballs, hence 7 receptions for 12 targets. A little bit of a, I don't want to say concern, but it's like, damn, what if he got more footballs thrown to him? Would he have 150 yards and 2 touchdowns? This guy had a remarkable final outing in 2025. And if we go to his game log, and let me make this, let me minimize this so I can fit it into one screenshot here. And, he gets some carries too. He's also a little bit, dangerous in that respect. He's going to get you, some games he might have 2 carries. Some games he might have 3 carries. Some games he might have 0. But this is a guy that could end up finishing with like 15, 20 carries on the year in a full season in a Liam Cohen system where he likes to move his players all over the field, pre-snap, motion, just getting this guy involved. You can see right here that he wasn't truly a full-time guy, even though he had 5 receptions for 5 targets for 76 yards in week 2. The volume wasn't quite there for him yet. The targets weren't really consistent. He had that 11 spike in in week 3. You can see there. Let me minimize this so I can point to it. You can see right here he had the 11 targets. So that was a big game for him. But then 0 receptions, 2 receptions, 2 receptions for the London game. London games are this week, 11-2. So this is about where I would say, and even here he was sporadic. You know, it was 3, 2, 5, 1. The targets did seem pretty consistent right from this week right here. Despite that 11 target game, it really was this Rams game here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games, I would say, is where we'd want to extrapolate from to really get a feel of what his totals would look like. So 52 plus 90 plus 33 plus 20 plus 71 plus 26 plus 53 plus 145 plus 115. I won't include the playoff game. Plus 87. That is 692 divided by 10. That is 69.2 yards times 17. That is 1176. So I'm going to write that down here, 1176. And let's take his touchdowns. He had, we're not going to go up here and grab. We're going to stay fair in the same sample. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 touchdowns divided by 10. Multiply that by 17. That is 7 touchdowns. So 7 TDs, 1176. This is the number we're working with right here. Let me erase this. This is his prorated 2020, 2025 stats if we prorate. And his reception totals, if we go back to that screen, let me just find that real quickly. Where were we? I think we're right here. Okay. So if we go to his receptions, we're looking at 8 plus 3 plus 2 plus 5 plus 1 plus 3 plus 6 plus 8 plus 5. What is this going to be? 41. 41 divided by 10. Then extrapolate that across 17 games. That is that correct? Hold on. I might have miscounted here. Hold on. 8 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 5 plus 1 plus 3 plus 6 plus 8 plus 5 is 45. So like, is that right? 76. I hope I counted that right. I was going quick. So we're looking at 76, 11, 76, and 7 TDs, extrapolating the 10 games straight, no cherry picking, the 10 games straight that this kid played on the course of a season. I truly think that this is a sleeping giant. And I don't even think it's midseason monster type stuff. I think he does it from Jump Street. Now, the nice and beautiful part about these two gentlemen is that you can get Hunter in that 142 territory as wide receiver. Was it 61? So just cuff the two together. Grab this guy in the 140s, cuff him to your P Wash at 72 as your wide receiver 3, and you're almost guaranteed. Because even if BTJ becomes what we think he can become again, possible, but not extremely likely, it's possible, there's still room for another wide receiver in a Liam Cohen system. I mean, this is a remarkable cuff here at a very near lowest cost of entry wide receiver 3 you can find. And even in best ball, this is obviously remarkable to cuff, but in non-best ball, it's still a real good move to grab Hunter in the 140s, probably even get him a little bit later in non-best ball. Best ball, I think people take Hunter's value a little differently because they're like, at some point, even if it's a 4-week span, you know, we could definitely see this thing, you know, moving in a direction that ends up helping you in a 4-game block, and that's why best ball is going to be different. I think his non-best ball value is even lower in most people's eyes. This cuff right here guarantees you pretty damn good wide receiver 3 numbers, and you're not unsure who to play at first. You're playing P Wash. And there's a world where they're both pretty viable at the same time. But this cuffing maneuver is a pretty cheap wide receiver 3 situation. I love it. Parker Washington, very tempted to put him on the Moon Man list. Maybe by the end of the day, I do put him on the Moon Man list. But I don't know. Phone line's open. Dial in. Maybe I put him on before the show.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I'm excited about P-Wash. It's okay to be excited about both of these guys at the same time because of the cost of entry is zero, like near zero. 142 is nothing. The guy you draft at 142, you might just as easily cut at some point during week 1 or 2 to pick up a waiver wire guy. Like, that's an expendable draft selection. You draft him at 140. You say, hey, 142 is around, what do we say, 12? There's like 12.3. So you're talking about a 12th round player. You easily could cut the 12th drafted player that you select in any draft. And so you just grab these two, cuff them together. If you feel differently about Hunter later, cut them. And not to mention, for those of you that miss out, there's a good chance that if Travis Hunter doesn't get any run in week 1, what's the first thing we're going to hear on the show in the comments? What do we do with Travis Hunter, right? Like, Travis Hunter will probably be dropped. If he, in fact, is going to be used a little less at the beginning of the... Zeno, I don't know why you're depressed. I just explained why it's good. So I don't know if you just showed up and left that comment, but you might want to rewind and watch. You're probably going to see a lot of people give that line, what do we do with Travis Hunter? There is a stronger chance that he starts off not getting as much work and then he gets tons of work later. So the opportunity to pick him up as an ad later on is fantastic. It really could be an amazing situation later in the season. Probably will be on our week 2 waiver wire board. Probably going to be on Travis Hunter, our week 3 waiver wire board. Probably going to be on our week 4, week 5 waiver wire board. As his opportunities will open up as we get closer and closer to midseason. His opportunities will open up as somebody gets hurt. So,
call into the show. Call into the show.
I think Denny tried to call earlier, but he just doesn't watch the show, so he just randomly tries to call. Denny, if you're out there, call back now. Call back when we're live, my boy. Parker Washington is the best value right now, and I like BTJ too. Like, that's the thing is, and I'm not saying you should be drafting all 3. I'm not saying that it's the craziest thing in the world to do that, though, because I believe that you will have one super viable wide receiver option at some point in best ball. It's I've stacked that many players before on a good viable offense. It's not the craziest thing in the world. BTJ's value is solid too. BTJ's going 61 overall. Let me go over here. BTJ 61 overall. Let me make room right here for BTJ. This is Travis. BTJ is going, what'd I say? 61 overall. And he's wide receiver 31. I mean, these are all very good wide receivers. The fact that everybody's just confused about it is why there are discounts. Jacoby Myers is 86. Some people really like Jacoby. I don't blame you. He had 835 yards and 3 tutties on the year. Not bad. They're all 3 very, very good, and Myers even. All 4 are very good values. But you got to ask yourself, like, what's the best cost of entry? Do you like BTJ at 61 overall? Do you like Hunter at 42? Do you like P-Wash at 71? If you had to isolate one of these as the best values, who's it going to be? I feel that Hunter's probably the best value because 7.1 is a smash for P-Wash, but I still believe this is free. This is zero, cost of entry. This is a zero risk proposition with tremendous upside because Hunter is such a weapon. And keep in mind that the GM drafted him to be a weapon. Keep in mind that Liam Cohen said, yeah, he's going to play more defense. We got to get him on defense. And everybody just started like running with this story. And now everybody's giving their opinion. And there have been 2 or 3 reports in the last 48 hours that have specifically said the BTJ is going to be, or I'm sorry, Travis Hunter is going to be used as a part-time wide receiver, full-time cornerback, or that haven't even had the part-time wide receiver part really in there. It's been just Travis Hunter is going to be a full-time DB in 2026, according to reports. So-and-so is reporting. It's like, trust me, bro, I'm taking the interpretation of the same thing that you witnessed and telling you my opinion and wrapping it up with a bow and saying that this is facts and this is absolutely coming from Liam Cohen. I'm going to say the best value of all of them will probably be Travis Hunter. I think P. Wash is solid, about as even as BTJ. This is better value at 72, but BTJ, because he still could get traded. What if he's in Buffalo? What if he's in New England? P. Wash at 72 is your wide receiver 3. You really just can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong. Let me make this point. If one of these wide receivers moves, and it's only going to be BTJ. If BTJ moves, let me rephrase that. If BTJ gets moved and gets traded, guess what happens to P. Wash? Guess what happens to Hunter? Guess what happens to Myers? They all go up in value. The reason you're getting a discount on everyone involved is because no one knows what the hell's going on. You're not going to get Parker Washington at 72 overall. BTJ gets traded. If BTJ gets traded, Parker Washington climbs from 72 all the way up to 60 or 59 or 58, maybe 55. Could he go at 51? Sure. I mean, I don't really know where it's going to go. But the moment something happens or changes in this wide receiver room, the values of everyone will go up, because the only reason we're getting discounts is because of the confusion and ambiguity and the uncertainty and the unknown and the fact that everybody's reporting everything. Lots of value here. Lots of value. And I think you should probably own a little bit of everything in this wide receiver room. I don't think you should just go all in on P. Wash. I don't think you should just go all in on Travis Hunter. I don't think you should go all in on BTJ. I honestly think BTJ is the riskiest one, because we've seen him fail, and his cost of entry is still the highest out of everyone's at 61 overall. So he definitely has the most risk, I think. But I still think we should all just be grabbing different players at the different values. So it's too early to say what's happening. Well, that's what my whole point. B-match, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't take the Travis Hunter's role locked in. It's a bunch of speculation, and you just got to be careful. You got to be careful, and you got to take advantage of what's in front of you. And you got to understand that BTJ gets traded, everything changes. Everything changes. If BTJ gets traded, Travis Hunter goes from 142 to 90. like that. If BTJ gets traded, P. Wash goes, like I said, from 72 to maybe 59. Jacoby Myers probably climbs a ton too. This is going to be an interesting situation. All right. Dial in. I'm not sure if we're doing Dynasty.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
If we don't have any, I don't know if the phone lines aren't working or what, but if we don't have any phone calls, we'll jump straight over to the Dynasty show, I suppose. I don't know if I want to do a replication of this topic. I'll come up with something to surprise you on the Dynasty channel. But please subscribe to the Rumble channel. Please subscribe to this main YouTube channel. If you're on Rumble, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the Rumble channel. Let me drop that Rumble link. Appreciate everybody over on Rumble. I got Hag over there, Blackbeard's over on Rumble, Aldi. You guys are chatting away over there. We got almost 20 people over on Rumble. Rumble's growing. We're at 3.53K. We're almost at 3.6K. We get to 10K. Rumble gets its own show. BTJ landing spots. We've gone over that a lot lately. I'll go over it real quickly, just briefly. We talk about that pretty much every day. Here are the landing spots for the wide receivers. The best spots are New England, Buffalo, Washington, LV, and then this grab bag down here. of Tennessee and Indianapolis, but those could be filled. I mean, bringing back Alec Pierce will be a priority for the Colts, and Tennessee Titans could grab one of these rookie wide receivers at this 4 spot. I hope it's Tyson. When the offseason first started, I didn't want Tennessee, but as I've broken it down, it's just the most logical place for targets, and Cam Ward's good enough. And I like the coaching hires. It's starting to feel really, really nice. Salah should do a good job, I think, this go around. Did I miss you going over my super chat? I don't think so. Here, let me see if I missed this, Racing Boy. I don't know why I didn't see it come in. $10 hauler from Racing Boy. I'm sorry, Racing Boy. Thank you for sending that reminder that it went through. I don't know what happened there. Traded Rome, Parkinson, and Tunges and 1.9 for James Cook, Devontae Smith, and Caleb Johnson, the running back. Running backs are now Gibbs, Yenti, Cook, and soon to be Love at 1.1. Wide receivers are T-Mac, Buka, Neighbors. Yeah, I love Rome, but Rome's just a theory right now. We don't know what he is at all. If he gets traded to, let's say, Buffalo or New England to be the starter, this might sting a little bit to watch that, but at the same time, you got to remind yourself that you still have Devontae Smith, you still have James Cook. Like in a worst case scenario for you, Rome gets traded to Buffalo or New England. You're really sad about it, but you now break even probably on the trade. But until something like that happens, you're getting James Cook, who you could easily flip for something else if you want. He's a very tradable piece right now. Very, very high value guy. I think you smashed that trade. And your team looks great. And your running backs are so deep that you easily could afford to do this. And you can, your wide receivers and your running backs. Your whole team's deep. But I would probably look, if I'm you, looking at your receivers, I would probably try and trade like James Cook and Devontae Smith, or even James Cook and T-Mac for one elite wide receiver, bro. That's what I would do if I was you. Thank you for your super chats. Appreciate you. I would be working on that all offseason. T-Mac and Cook for a top 3 or 4 overall wide receiver. Or Cook for JJ straight up right now while you can get that done. Those are fantastic. That'd be a fantastic move on top of your already fantastic move. All right, Travis, you're live. Hit me as fast as you can on the Parker Washington, Hunter, BTJ, Jacoby Myers values and what you see anticipating a BTJ trade. We know we want it, but how likely is it in your eyes?
Really hoping for one because it would clear everything up and make it really draft these guys. Obviously, their ADP would go up, like you said. But I think it's like 40 to 50% he gets traded, which is still pretty high. Only because when, the offense seemed so disjointed whenever he was getting the ball, unless it was one of these games where he was getting 2 receptions, 3 receptions at the, just being a deep guy, which is obviously his skill set. But I mean, man, I can't see him being happy with that, especially now we're going into year 3. So, they're going to have to make the decision on the 5th-year option. So it's like, one, he's not going to be happy because he's going to want to get playing time to get a contract. And 2, if they have all this talent, they're not going to be, quite as, motivated to get him a ton of work where he's going to need a huge contract or whatever. So I can't see him wanting to stick around if he's going to be 4th or 5th in the pecking order, sitting there with Bretton Strange. And
so you think he creates a fuss about it? I mean, he'd have to create it quickly because most teams.
I don't know if he will. I don't see him being happy if it turns out that way this year. So maybe it won't happen.
Oh, so a year from now.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. The one thing about, I think you're right about BTJ is that he's not Liam Cohen's guy really, and when he plays, he does kind of feel like disjointed is a good word. It's kind of like AJB. When AJB got the ball in Philly, they lost. Like whenever AJB exploded, they lost, and whenever BTJ is being used, they're off kilter. I think Parker Washington's the guy, man.
And
I really think he has about, even if he has like 950 and 9, I think he probably runs a lot more this year too. I mean, there were games where he had 3 carries, 2 carries, 3 carries, and then he had 0 and 0. But I think he could probably get like 100 yards rushing and 1 or 2 touchdowns rushing, 8 receiving touchdowns to 10. And then even if it's like 990 and 85 or something, like I'd be okay with the 1100. I think he could get that. But even if it was not, let's say it's 10-10. That's always like my mundane. You barely get 1,000 yards. Let's not give him 900. Let's give him 1,000. 10-10, 1050, something like that. 10-10, 85, and 8. Like that's a really good season for a guy you're 72 overall. And
the numbers you put up earlier would have made him wide receiver 8 this year. So, like even if he didn't quite get that, you're talking a top 15 wide receiver,
Yeah, this is what he prorated as: 76, 1176, and 7 touchdowns, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. And especially when, you have, even during the final 10 games, which I didn't cherry pick, I just took the last 10 games. The last 10 games, there is still ambiguity. They're still trying to force BTJ into the one role. There was a lot that went on there that I think that will be cleared up this year. And I don't know, the way Liam Cohen talks about Parker Washington, I really believe that this time he's going to enter the season saying you're a reliable one. Not that it can't change, not that BTJ can't reemerge, but the question is, have we ever seen BTJ play well with Trevor Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence, when Mac Jones was on the field in 2024, BTJ went crazy. And then whenever we looked at the 2024 data of T-Law and BTJ, it was putrid. And everybody, just including us, let's be honest, we're like, don't worry about it. It was a small sample. Like, we can't really, like, we just ignored it. But so not only do you have 2024 data that says BTJ does not do good with T-Law, you have now an entire 2025 campaign where BTJ does not do well with Trevor Lawrence. So for whatever reason, they're not meant to play together. And that's why I think there is a chance he does get traded. Like you said, maybe it's a 30 or 40% chance, which is still big, that he gets moved. And if he does get moved, maybe he needs that scenery change in order to get his wiggle back. Because I don't think he feels confident where he is right now. Sometimes if you make the move quickly in their career, early in their career, I think you could shake it. Like a BTJ, for whatever reason, had a moment where he just didn't. It's kind of like Pickens. Pickens in Pittsburgh, like he shook that. He did just fine. There's a chance that BTJ feels misused, and maybe he is getting misused a little bit. But it's the offense that Liam Cohen's running he doesn't fit into. He might need to go somewhere where they're just spoon feeding him like he got spoon fed with Mac Jones. Where would that be? Drake May. Where would that be? Josh Allen. Where would that be? Maybe LV, but probably Washington would be pretty good too for the long term.
Yeah, and the two things that do worry me that he won't be traded is, one, that they have the stock of only using Hunter a little, and so that they want that third quote unquote full-time wide receiver that they like, and and in turn that gives Hunter less work. That would be like the doomsday scenario, and that. But I think the bigger thing that might keep him from getting traded is that I don't know that they get what they want for him in return right now, because any team you go to is going to be like, yeah, we'll give you a 4th or 5th rounder, because I don't think anyone's given up a 2nd rounder for him after last year.
Yeah,
I disagree.
I don't know what the value is going to be. I think that you can't ask for more for BTJ than you're getting for Pickens, I guess.
Well, that's what I mean. Pickens or AJB,
I don't think AJB gets a 2nd rounder because he's old. I think Pickens gets at least a 2nd rounder. I don't think he gets a 1st, though. It seems like the market doesn't command that, which is crazy to me.
That always happens, though, it seems.
I give up two.
Wide receivers get moved.
I'm definitely an overpayer when I can get somebody to accept a deal that if I give them too much time to think on it, they might not do anything, even if I come back with that overpay. So if I say, hey, I'll give you a second rounder for BTJ, they're like, I'm getting a couple of those offers. Let me weigh out the offers and see what second rounder I like better, what I project for your team and what I project for his team. And you're like, okay, see you in a little bit. And then he goes back and Steve looks at it and comes back and goes, I think I'm just going to stand down. Okay, I'll give you 2 second rounders. No, I'm already in the no business right now. We'll see you later. And he doesn't do the trade. I'm the kind of guy, it's like, this is how I do it in the NFL too. It's like, here, if I really want something, I feel like we're talking about peanuts at this point. Like, second rounder. Okay, I'm getting a second rounder from Steve. I'm going to look at it. 2 second rounders. And then the person that, you know, they're like, okay, I'll do it. And then they do the trade. I overpay, but I get it done. If I was an NFL GM, man, I wouldn't even mess around with this Pickens offer. Second rounder is what Jerry wants. How about 2? How about 2 second round picks? I'll give you a 2028 and a 2026 or whatever to get this done now, right now. But I won't offer that again tomorrow. It's now, like, you know, when trading is available. That's how I would do things. I would make someone go, I got to take this. This is a ridiculous offer. I just don't understand how these teams undervalue or overvalue draft picks and undervalue players. A second rounder for Pickens. That Christian McCaffrey trade that the Panthers made with the Niners was such a ridiculous trade. Watching 30 other NFL teams not surrender it was a second, a third, and a fourth rounder for Christian McCaffrey. I think that's what the trade was. That was the most ludicrous thing that I had ever seen, watching the Niners as the only competitors for that trade. And even though Christian McCaffrey was coming over with some injury risk at that moment in time, it was still worth the gamble at that point. It was one of the dumbest non-trades that 30 teams ever made, didn't make. And it's just, you know, these draft picks are just overvalued so much. I don't understand it. That's where the value is. It's trading draft picks for players. Because guess what? You try and trade player for player, you're going to get people being stingy about things. You give them a draft pick. All I do is consume draft picks, I suppose, because then I could go trade for any player I want and keep doing it over and over and over. I might have a super team by the time we're done with it. If I could just get my hands on second rounders, I could acquire anybody. I could get Breece Hall like this for a second rounder because you could have got him for a third. So Breece Hall with a second, BTJ with a second, Mac Jones with a second. Boom. Now the Vikings have BTJ, JJ, Mac Jones, and Breece Hall. And they give away second rounders. It's crazy to me. It's crazy.
And it's crazy too how when these players come up in the trade market, and I think Pickens would be a different story. He'd have a bunch of teams after him, but like only like 2 or 3 teams go, oh, I'm interested. Where it's like half the league should be going after these guys because it's so rare, especially a CMC, but a Pickens, even a guy like BTJ, or if a Dunze pops up, you know, these guys that you know have that, you know, top end of the first round talent, and you get like 3 teams, like, I'll give you a fourth rounder for him. It's like someone can't just come in and pony up a second and just take them away. You know, it's like they all have to play that game, and it's mind-blowing sometimes.
Yeah. We'll be doing another video tomorrow, which will be on the Commanders and the report that surfaced tonight. Nothing urgent, but it's going to create content for tomorrow. That Adam Peters, and who's the GM of the Washington Commanders, Adam Peters and the Washington Commanders are expected to be very active heading into the NFL draft. Now, Adam Peters is a talent, you know, a scouting
He doesn't
phenom.
need his early picks.
Yeah.
He gets all his guys in the late round.
So there's still a chance they're going to be very active. That doesn't necessarily mean trade. It could mean that Mike Evans is going to be a Washington Commander. It could mean that BTJ is going to get traded to the Washington Commanders. It could be that they're going to potentially try and not only draft one of these rookie wide receivers like Jordan Tyson, but you know, they bring in a Rico Dowdle. Can you imagine Jordan Tyson and Rico Dowdle, or Mike Evans and Jeremiah Love? Like any one of those combinations for the Washington Commanders, and Washington to the moon, and JD5 is going to just explode. But I think whether it's Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate, or Mike Evans, you're trying to get one of those. And you're trying to get, if you can, with the pick, Jeremiah Love. And if that ship sails because he's gone, or you take one of the rookie receivers, then you got Rico Dowdle. You've got, you could try and trade for Breece Hall. Imagine drafting Jordan Tyson and then trading a third-round pick for Breece Hall. I mean, the Washington Commanders will be set up for. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I don't want to get into too much of that because that Adam Peters content's going to create and spark that conversation.
Yeah. Did they name a GM this year? Because I think he was the GM as well last year with whatever higher position he has on top of it.
No, Adam Peters is the GM.
Okay. I misheard you. Sorry. I thought you said Adam Peters and whoever the GM is. But yeah,
no, I said awesome. Adam Peters, those that don't know, is the GM of the Washington Commanders as well.
Oh, okay. I got you.
But yeah, so that'll be it'll be interesting content for tomorrow. But all right, wrap up on this, and then we'll go to Dynasty real quick. Give me your prediction. Parker Washington, does he finish as the number one? Rapid fire for you. Parker Washington, is he the number one wide receiver in Jacksonville in 2026 at the end of the year?
Yes.
And does he have 1,000 yards receiving?
Yes.
Okay, BTJ, Where is he at? Where is he playing football in 2026?
For now, I'll say not Jacksonville. It's kind of a hope as well. In terms of where he would go, if the Cowboys lose Pickens, I could see them going after him if he's not going to cost a second rounder, if it's like a fourth rounder or something. But like you said, besides that, Bills, Patriots, Broncos. Someone mentioned the Niners, and the Niners are a sneaky place for a receiver, especially if they don't re-sign Jennings. I don't know if they're planning to or not. I've seen mixed things on that. So.
Hey, Kruger, if you had to predict a percentage chance that Brian Thomas Jr., the Jaguars wide receiver, is traded this offseason, what is that percentage chance, Kruger?
I'm going to be straight with you. That is just speculation. I don't have insight on the Jaguars' plans or front office intentions. If I had to toss it off and guess for the sake of the show, let's say maybe 15 to 20%. Low odds, but the NFL, anything can happen.
Hey, he has no clue. He's just going with the flow on that one. All right, final question, then we'll go over to Dynasty. Travis Hunter. Odds from 0 to 100% that he finishes with 900 plus yards or 8 plus touchdowns.
40%, because I think if Brian Thomas Jr. gets traded, I'll change that. But as it stands, I think they're going to concentrate on him being healthy and, playing him, mixing him in on snaps on offense to begin the season. And I just think no matter what as the season goes, if he's healthy, Cohen's not going to be able to resist putting him in there more.
Here's my final projection for Travis Hunter, and then we'll end the show here. I think that Hunter does in fact start off lesser wide receiver production. I think that part is clear because that's what Liam Cohen said. But what Liam Cohen hasn't said is that he's not, like, people are acting like he's not going to play wide receiver at all. I think that when we hit week number 8 or 9, he's going to be playing at a level that is, let's call this wide receiver 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just for craps and giggles on this graph. He'll probably be playing like a fantasy football wide receiver 4 or 5, And once he hits week 8, whether it's because of a midseason trade where they trade BTJ away and they wait, or an injury to BTJ or an injury to Parker Washington or an injury to Jacoby Myers, or just they put Hunter in more and more and he just keeps doing things and they're like, he's outperforming these guys. He's got to start. I think by week 8 or 9, he's playing in between a wide receiver 2 and a wide receiver 3. That's kind of
how I see it.
So like weeks 9 or 10 on, when we prorate that through week 17, this is where we're going to get the numbers that would say, 1,090 yards and 9 touchdowns is what he's prorated on if he was to have gotten this volume all year. That's the way I see Hunter having. That's the season I envision for Hunter in 2026. So draft accordingly, trade accordingly, hold on to him accordingly, and add him mid-season accordingly when people cut him in this week 1, 2, 3, 4 range. And people are like, what are we doing, Travis Hunter? It takes 2 games, even 1 game, for someone to give up on somebody in this racket.
Yep.
In this racket we play, you don't do something for the first 2 weeks, doesn't matter what your projection is, doesn't matter what you've been told. I could sit here and give people the blueprint and say, I have the Gray's Book Sports Almanac. I just went back to the future in the DeLorean, and week 9 is when Hunter gets unlocked. And somebody would still say, but what do we do with Travis Hunter? Are we cutting him? So if you don't think he's going to be available in this weeks 1 through 4 time frame, between weeks 1 through 17, you're out of your mind. All right, Travis, any final word, and then we're on to the Dynasty show.
Nope. I'll see you over there. Thanks. Bye.
All right, later. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't want to replicate this content and from a Dynasty perspective. I'll create a topic. We'll jump over to Dynasty. Guys, thank you, Rumblers. Appreciate you. For those on Rumble that don't have the Dynasty link, it's in the description of the Rumble video, but I'm going to paste it right now. Here's the link. So that's my Rumblers. And then my YouTubers, make sure you click this link. We're going over to Dynasty right now. Appreciate Danny for the super chat. Appreciate Racing Boy with the double. And Racing Boy, you still there? I appreciate you, my man. I'll see you guys all on the Dynasty channel. Rumble, we're not going to be on Rumble on the Dynasty channel, so make sure you check out the Dynasty link that I just dropped. Aldi, see you later. Blackbeard, see you over on Rumble. Thank you for being on both platforms. Aldi, same thing to you. Hag, see you later. Bullfrog, see you later. Teflon, if you're out there. Appreciate all my Rumblers. Teflon in the building, I think. Yeah, he's in the building. We had a bunch of people over here on Rumble tonight. So glad to see that. Guys on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to Rumble. See you all on the Dynasty channel in about 5 minutes.